Alrighty, we are continuing my adventure of doing reviews of books I've read recently, because I have opinions. Today's adventure will be in Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher. There's a certain moment in many, but nowhere near all books, where the author wants you to have figured something out, but to feel proud that you have figured it out. They don't want to give it away. In mystery novels, this is the moment where you figure out whodunit. But in fantasy novels, it tends to be the moment when you find out a character's greater identity, heritage, or destiny. When you figure out they're the one. When this moment is not handled well, it's annoying as hell. For example, if it's too obvious, your reader is going to be wondering why the hell the characters didn't figure this out. Or if the author just thinks their readers are dumbasses. The Hollowed Hunt actually has a moment like this, even though I did enjoy this book a lot. There's a moment where I literally threw the book down and went, "He just told you he's the king!" But somehow it's another 2 chapters until the characters figure it out. But on the other side of that, we have books that are too subtle, either leading the readers astray or just confusing the hell out of them. Actually, We Hunt the Flame has a lot of this. There were so many moments where I was reading this book and going, does the author expect me to know what those portentous revelations meant? But I think Furies of Calderon hits the sweet spot. I feel like I know who Tavi is, but I feel smart for figuring it out. And I didn't figure it out too early on in the book. Okay, so this book is set in a Romanesque world, but one where people have elemental spirits called Furies that they take on as familiars. They can work together with these spirits to do things like fly, build stone buildings overnight, heal, and control emotions. Our story follows 2 different protagonists, Tavi, a young boy with no Furies at all, and Amara, a spy on a desperate mission to uncover and stop a plot to depose the king. They'll come together in a valley called Calderon on the very border of the kingdom to stop an evil army of savages from invading the kingdom. Now, I really like this book. I can't wait to get the next. The system of magic is interesting, the world different enough to feel new, while familiar enough to be welcoming. It has a lot of the classic tropes of fantasy. A young, looked-down-upon hero, the woman as mostly housewife and healer with a few badass exceptions. The crazy sex pot murderess, the savages from across the border, the kindly, just king, the protective older man, the boy who obviously has more to him than we see, wit and friendship saving the day. But under Butcher's deft hands, most of the tropes either become more than just a cliche, are subverted, or are just handled well enough that it doesn't really matter. My 2 exceptions are the savages and the women as healer tropes. He tries to subvert both. He has the savages turn out to be somewhat likable, some of them at least. They are described as white, in what to my mind reads as a very clear statement of, nope, not racist, I promise, I promise. And in a less expected twist, they really are savage. They are cannibals and have little respect for life, both traits that read as decidedly barbaric to modern readers. This is an interesting contrast to the modern era where we often find the savages portrayed as just misunderstood. It wasn't the most ham-fisted attempt I've ever read to include barbaric characters, but it somewhat lacks subtlety. Also, I'm not sure if we were supposed to believe the numerous characters who say that the savages aren't human, or if that's meant to be commentary on the dehumanization of other cultures. And on the females as heroes trope, Butcher subverts it in many ways. We had the healer murderer, the woman being shown in other roles as well, men as healers as well, and our main female healer had some seriously badass moments. But it just made it stand out more when we had characters who did the whole, "you're a woman, you can't possibly be expected to fight" thing. It felt a little like Butcher was fixing a problem that hadn't been there to begin with. You sort of wonder why he felt the need to include characters even saying that when we have a world where women are clearly fighters as well. I don't know, it was odd. Also, I'm sorry, but while it is conceptually cool, and it does work in the world, flying knights in shining armor, especially those carrying litters with half a dozen passengers, it's just silly to the mind's eye. For that reason alone, I doubt this book will ever get a TV or movie adaptation. Other than that, though, I would definitely encourage any fan of fantasy to pick up this book. Furies of Calderon was honestly my favorite of the books I read in the 12 days without power after Hurricane Ida.